disgrace. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, last night's results, so far at least, show us that Californians may just want to save their state after all. If the vote counting fiasco Democrats put in place lets them, that is. As of Showtime, Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton is in the top spot with 27.8%, followed by Javier Becerra at 25.4%. Steyer's down at 19.6%. So in this convoluted jungle primary system, the top two finishers, as you may remember, face off in November. Now, given that 8.2 percentage points separate Hilton from Steyer, one would think that Hilton's a shoo-in, right? Oh, not so fast, because in California, the vote counting can go on for not days, but weeks after the final polls close. The California Secretary of State issued a press release to this effect yesterday, reminding everyone that California counties have about 2 weeks, 13 days to be exact, to count all of their ballots. 13 days. And the man who spent $200 million on his own lackluster campaign, only to come in third on election night, feels, for that, optimistic.
It might take some time to figure out where this is going. We're going to wait till every ballot is counted. We're going to give democracy a time to work, and we know we finished really strong.
Yeah, democracy in quotes there. Well, meanwhile, in Florida, another state with a huge percentage of voting by mail, they finished the vote on election night somehow, as do most, if not all, Western nations. But of course, Democrats don't care that they're eroding public faith in California's voting system. They don't care at all. In fact, they prefer this approach. Why? Because it gives them all the power. Obama's old campaign chief knows the game.
The governor's race is incredibly interesting. It looks like Steve Hilton's going to advance to the next round. Becerra has a lead, but there are so many votes out there right now. It is very interesting to see whether Tom Steyer can have enough mail-in ballots. We might not know about this for several days.
Several days? This is a national disgrace, my friends. Oh, forget that. It's an international disgrace. The voters deserve to know who the winner or winners are by midnight on election night, or at least within 24 hours. Come on. But still, 20 hours after the polls closed in California, we still don't have a clear top two in the mayoral race. Pratt seems like he's a solid number two.
The final piece of the puzzle that we won't know tonight, right, is the late arriving vote by mail. Talking about probably like a third of the vote in Los Angeles, we're probably not going to be getting until tomorrow and maybe days to come after tomorrow. The mail can still come in after Election Day. And there's indications, and there's certainly a ton of precedent here, that late arriving vote by mail is going to be significantly more Democratic friendly than all of the other vote, meaning that would be good news for Bass. That would be good news for Rahman.
Yeah, so Nithya Raman would be good news for her, right? Good news for her. She's the far-left socialist. She could then magically jump 8 points to the number two position and leave what? Spencer Pratt pounding sand? Well, cynical Republicans feel that Democrats in charge will always somehow find the votes they need. Remember, they just need to be postmarked on Election Day to be counted, as long as they're received within the state, by the state, within 7 days. It is insane. But it's just the way the Democrats want it. Now, for his part, Spencer Pratt is continuing to campaign as if he will face Bass in November on Election Day. Remember, he promised common sense leadership.
I got in this because, as a citizen, I felt like my city failed myself, my neighbors, my family. And when I got on this mission now, I look around and the city's failing most of Los Angeles. There's people that just want the potholes fixed. Mayor Bass has allowed the city to be covered in potholes. We don't have sidewalks. We don't have lights. So on the basic level, there's people that care about that. Then there's the moms who want to be able to go to the parks and not see anybody shooting up fentanyl with their pants off.
He's right. They want a government that actually works for them, not against them. So at this point, Congress needs to step in here, and they can do so under what's called the Guarantee Clause of the Constitution. And it states that whereby the U.S. shall guarantee to every state of this union a Republican form of government. So my question tonight is California's allowing ballots to arrive 7 days after an election really living up to that guarantee of a Republican form of government? I say no. This is what election forecaster Nate Silver posted last night. The fact that California elections often can't be resolved for weeks is kind of insane and not common in other electoral systems around the world. Like, honestly, he writes, it's going to take us several weeks to tell you who won the election is failed state stuff and should be more stigmatized. Yeah, the fact that it's tolerated is bad, too, a textbook example of learned helplessness. Well, to that point, the Angle proposes the following. Both the House and Senate Judiciary Committees should call every major election official in California to testify about their specific process for vote collecting, safeguarding, and counting. Testimony should include how and why their officials ultimately settled on this vote counting regime, along with their refusal to require voter ID. So, to insist in this investigation, both chambers can appoint special masters, that's what they're called, to oversee the fact-finding, and then they could assist in writing a report that they could then present to DOJ. Now, it's important to note this. While courts usually find disputes under this clause non-justiciable, in other words, they won't hear the case because they think it's a political question, at least the voters in California and across the country will have a fuller picture of the lengths to which Democrats will go to hold on to power. And maybe, just maybe then, they'll demand change in what many of us believe is potentially the most corrupt voting system in the Western world. That's my proposal, and that's the Angle.